show it to him. Maybe we could get together with him. We could have a visit. So, okay, so
Okay.
school. So you enjoyed school. Were you successful in school?
I think beyond anybody's expectations, yes. I mean, I think people probably thought I wouldn't be able to settle down and listen and stop talking. I mean, those were my problems. And, but...
Because you were energetic or
self-centered, yeah. Playful, yeah. And, yeah. And also... my abilities were beyond those of every classmate, so that, was kind of problematic. And
your grades were good?
Yeah. I would say unfailingly, yeah, because I loved to make it good. I want to work at that, I mean, who cares? Whatever it is, if it's a list of numbers to add or words to read or whatever it was, okay, that I want to get my brain going on this. This is kind of the brain stuff was excitement, yeah.
But was there one school from K through 12, or was there a separate high school that you went to?
For me, yeah, one school. K through 12, yeah. I mean, isn't that extraordinary to even hear of?
Where did you graduate in your class from high school?
What year?
What rank?
Oh, I was the valedictorian, yeah. Yep. And, the thing that I worked at hardest was being able to do as well in classes, tests, and so forth as I was able to do without jeopardizing friendships in my class. I had both goals, and both were equally important to me. I was not under any circumstance, unless I, just failed at it, going to give one up for the other. And I learned a way of being with the other kids that was so, self-effacing or acknowledgement of them as how much fun they were or whatever they were good at or something. I don't know. It was a technique, is all I can say. I developed a technique that shielded me from, almost made them have to like me, I guess. I guess that was the point. They would have to like me. Who wouldn't like this person, That's embarrassing.
So you had a mother who was a well-respected educator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And was she pleased? Was she proud? Did she have a sense of pride in her daughter excelling in the school where she taught?
She took it for granted. It was never in question. I never protested. I never didn't try. So it was just one of the things that happened. I kept developing, and so I think it was just our everyday sense of relief. Okay, Jeannie's got this down, and I've got this down, and we're going to go to school, and it's all okay. I think that's what it was. I don't think there was in my mother. I think she was proud of me when I was honest, not when I was smart, if you know what I mean. If it was a character trait, if I was kind. I think those were the kinds of things that made her a little different, a little proud, The intelligence was taken for granted. The others I kind of had to work at. I guess. Yeah. Yeah, okay. The things that were under my control. If I was kind, if I looked out for somebody or, told them I was sorry, or those kind of things that were under my control, if I did them right, that's what she was proud of.
Tell me about some of the friends you made in high school or growing up. Some of your friends in the community.
I had a wonderful experience at the point where in our small school and another small school, the class from 7th grade on up came to our school. Okay, so when 7th grade came in our school, a whole new group of people came from the other school, which was a really more country school even than our school was. Only had grades up through either 6 or 7, but I think 6. And so I got a whole new set of friends.
Why were they merging the schools?
They didn't have the money to support a parallel school or the need. It's like, okay, there are school buses, right? Okay, so we can bus these kids all the way from Rodman to Adams Center. No need for us to have a full high school. And so, there was a girl who was part of that who was as smart as I was and who loved to be smart and loved to learn things and was kind, very, just a wonderful human being. And this was the first time I had felt like an equal with a classmate, a real equal with a classmate. I loved my other classmates, not that I didn't, but I always had to be careful of not talking too much or answering too many questions or blah, 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 blah. With her, we were, so that was great.
What was her name?
Beverly, yeah, you don't care about her last name anyway, but Bev, yeah. Bev Thompson. Yeah.
So what was that friendship like? Did she, obviously she lived on a farm nearby?
No. This is a school. Rodman here, Rodman and Adams Center. So she did not live nearby. So we only saw each other in school. And we had extracurricular activities in school, and so we would be involved in those, play basketball or whatever, or singing and so on. But she was very religious, and which didn't mean that she frowned on me as not being that religious, but it meant that exposed me to it's as though you had met Jesus, okay? I mean, here was a person who lived the gospel, honestly. And it was not something I intended to do or wanted to do, but boy, you had to be amazed at having a friend like that. So anyway, that was a big deal, having that new friend in high school.
So tell me, and she was your friend up through high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And any other friendships that you had there that lived close by, or were there any neighboring farms?
Oh, sure. I mean, I had a best friend, Jane, who lived within, she and I called it walking distance, but it got better when we rode bikes. But Jane and I were mostly best friends until we'd been together too long. And then we began to get snippy at each other, and that's just because our patience had run out, or whatever you're supposed to have to be able to continue interacting with other people when you're a little kid. So, but she and I loved to do a lot of the same things. And then, the older I got and had my own bicycle, there was also a group of friends who in the summer went to a watering hole, went to a swimming pool, swimming hole. And that was males and females. And that was a lot of fun. Oh, that was a lot of fun. I mean, what kid has a swimming hole? You know what I mean? A real old-fashioned, like jumping in from the bank into a pool.
Was there a rope tied to a tree?
No, I don't think we did. I think we just jumped, as far as I remember it, but I may be wrong. But anyway, but you could stay there as long as your parents told you could, you know. No adults around, nobody telling what you could or couldn't do, because there wasn't any way to get hurt, really, you know. Oh, yeah, that was my first feeling of being a real teenager, you know, like this is okay, I'm a teenager now, you know, this sort of sense of I'm not just a little kid anymore. Bicycle, swimming pool. But the catch was that in the summertime, you know, had an obligation to my grandfather. My dad helped with the morning milking, but I was Grandpa's partner for the evening milking. So I had to leave that swimming pool, and I was the only kid who did. And not only did I have to leave the swimming pool, but then I had to get on my bicycle, and I had to ride uphill all the way to my house to get there in time to help my grandfather. So, you know, all right, you want to play here at the swimming pool a little longer? I think you're going to be sorry if you do, because that's not going to work real well, that ride home.
So this was a swimming hole on a creek, basically?
Yes, it's exactly what it was. Yeah, where you just jumped off from the creek bank into the swimming hole. It was only a hole because it was fairly deep. Yeah, a deep part. So, and because everybody went there. That's a swimming hole, right?
So summertimes on the dairy farm there was just as much work to do during the summer. It wasn't like you were growing crops. So
what do you mean it wasn't like we were growing crops?
It wasn't like a planting season and a harvest season.
Of course there was.
In terms of your farm?
Oh yes, we grew our own corn, we grew our own oats. Yeah, and of course then there was the vegetable garden. So yeah, no, there was definitely a growing season on the farm, and there was, you know, equipment that had to be run. You know, you had to plow, you had to do other things with equipment on the ground. So, you know, it was, and this is where, you know, it was convenient that my grandfather's brother owned the other farm, because they only had to have one set of the equipment and just make sure that everybody knew who was using what when. But
so the workload shifted seasonally, meaning that summertimes you had more free time.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I only had more free time because it wasn't school time. But well, I guess that's true. There were different kinds of parts of things that had to be done in the summertime. But you're right, you had to wait for everything to grow to before it was harvest time. So I guess there was a stretch there where things maybe quieted down, but there were always cows to milk. I mean, that happened. That was year-round, you know. So I never really thought of it as, you know, a whole, nothing.
One of your primary responsibilities was milking. So
it wasn't a primary responsibility, but my grandfather, you know, that he's the one that did the evening milking. So I was his, you know, I was the one who helped him. I was the only one who was really reasonable. My mother was too little to do it, to be honest, and I was very strong as a, you know, as a 10-year-old at least. I don't know as I did it before I was 10. But